Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Chapter 10, The Witching Hour. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, this one has like a bookend, kind of, not even just a bookend, it's got an actual wrapping device entirely.
Yeah, it's throughout the episode, it appears.
Yeah, Wardwell, although we do know now, I mean, we only have her word for it, but I have no reason to doubt when she says who she is at the end of this one. We know she is the Madame Satan, or Lady Satan, I think was the exact phrase she used.
Madame Satan, yeah.
But her name's Lilith. And she's basically vying for Sabrina to take her role as the foot soldier, so she can take a spot next to the Satan himself by the throne and be Queen Satan. Which it's not a shocking motivation for her, really, but
Not even slightly.
but it works. It makes sense, and she kind of wins. That's kind of the thing. I guess we were kind of expecting a cliffhanger that led into whatever season 2 was going to be, and that's kind of it. That, of course, along with the fact that Sabrina seems to have given herself over to the Dark Lord, and as a result, has kind of lost a bit of herself along the way.
Yeah.
To the point where in the final scene she seems like a completely different character. And I know I've been hitting you with the Buffy references all season, but it's hard not to think about this and then think about the season 2 premiere of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when she was bad, when she came back to town a little bit different. Now that was more emotional issues and having to work through guilt and regret and that kind of thing, but
Yada, yada, yada. Any excuse.
but it made me think of I could see the early stuff next season being Harvey, Roz, and Susie trying to like snap her out of it, like come back to us, Sabrina, come back to your human side. That's going to be a thing.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. Yes. Do you know? It was kind of fulfilling the disappointment of Wardell. You know, she's like, okay, right, our friends are about to abandon her. Right, she's hiding in the stall in the bathroom. She's watching. And and Sabrina's crying, and it's a nice little scene between her, Roz, and Susie, and Roz and Susie just like immediately like, oh no, you're still Sabrina, we love you, you're fine, we'll stand by you.
I like and I dislike. I
Okay,
like because I mean it means we don't have to go through all the other stuff, right? Of going through the drama of it, but at the same time, it kind of feels like, what was the point?
well, the point was you didn't know they were going to do that. It's
No, I know, but even when even in this episode, you've got Roz saying to her grandmother, it's like, "Oh, I don't know. I think she might be a bad one." And then it just, I don't know. I don't think the moment didn't play as a big enough deal for the amount of build to it.
well, I can see what you're saying there, but I think the point though is that there was doubt in Rosie's mind until she's actually confronted with it. Which she's confronted with Sabrina actually looking kind of scared that they're going to react badly, and like in that moment, knows no, this is what no, she's scared, terrified that we're going to react to this.
Sure,
So it's a human moment. It's something you would understand, not having a soul, but
it's fair.
that is that. So I like that scene a lot. I think it handled it fairly well. Now you still have Susie speaking to her stupid dead grandmother at one point.
Yeah,
Which I don't even know what to say about anymore. Actually, this episode had the perfect use of Harvey's dad. Spoken of, but not seen. Perfect.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
He existed conceptually and no more, and that's all we need of him. That's fine.
Yeah.
He's up in his room. He's sobbing like a baby. Oh, fine, good. We can go on with our lives. And Harvey's stuff with Sabrina likewise was kind of interesting in that he didn't just react the typical drama way. There was a bit more nuance to it than perhaps you might have been expecting them to go through with.
Do you think? It didn't feel that nuanced to me.
It was a bit more nuanced. It wasn't. I mean, I'm not saying it's like The Wire, but like,
I'm not expecting that. Don't get me wrong.
but just like it's what we keep comparing this to a CW show because it kind of originated as this and obviously Riverdale exists, and I feel
I
like
don't feel like this stuff was that far away from it.
I think it was relative. It was far enough.
So, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I might have to disagree on this one. When it was just him being like, "No, I'm not coming to the school. You're witches. I'm gonna protect myself." This all felt like, yeah, all right, whatever.
Oh, that was the worst part. I was talking more about the scene in the library, uh,
Right,
with them
okay.
talking to
Yeah,
each
that
other.
seems okay.
Yeah, I like that scene. I especially liked how Hilda, knowing that Harvey knows now, just astral projecting in front of him like it's no big deal. Like, hey Harvey, hey Sabrina, Dark Lord wants to see us. Blackwood and all that. They all want to see us back at the Church of Night. This, off we go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he's like, I guess you need to go, Sabrina. He's like, I don't really want to, but
Coven stuff.
uh and I'm digging them all knowing. Admittedly though, we're going into next season with a different, because I thought it was setting up they're going to be all together next season at the start, all and they all know now, of course, but we're going to be doing this different thing where she's actually separating herself from her human life. She's seemingly losing her soul a little bit and being a bit more evil, and we'll maybe, as we
Yeah.
said, explore maybe Harvey and co actually fighting for her to come back and fighting for her to remember who she is. Which, if pulled off well, could be quite a good moment when they finally get to her, in some way.
Yeah.
Because I think Sabrina's character has been very solid in the sense that she has been very consistent, and there's a couple of moments early on in this one that I liked where it showed that she's kind of become a bit more self-aware about her decisions and about what she
Yeah.
does. Because there's a point early on with Zelda where she doesn't want to go to school because she's terrified, and again, we're talking about wanting consequences. Like she's so terrified of seeing Harvey that she's want to just stay home, and she says, "I don't want to lose," because Zelda offers a balm that Hilda made that'll take away her emotions. And she said, "No, I don't want to stop feeling. I just want to stop hurting." And she goes, "No, what? No, that's wrong. I want Harvey to stop hurting." And it was that little moment of like, she's becoming self-aware. She's not just thinking about herself. Just felt like a nice little moment of growth to me.
No, fair enough.
So that was good. So, yeah, so we haven't really mentioned about the plot of this one. In terms of the threat, because there's actually there's a big thing that's happening in this one. Is that Wardell, having failed to separate Sabrina from her friends with all of her tactics and being kind of pissed about it, she says, okay, there needs to be a threat that'll force Sabrina into action, that'll force her to make the decision that she's not made yet. And she raises the original 13 witches of Salem, or it's not Salem, sorry, Greendale. Freudian slip there, I guess. And they will go through the town at which or open all the doors so that the Red Rider of Death, what was his name?
Crimson Rider? I don't know.
Crimson Rider, yes. And he will take the firstborns of every family as penance for what they did to the 13 witches. And the 13 witches want the witches as well, because witches also chose to sort of like let them the humans can have them as a sacrifice. They'll shut them up.
Yeah.
It was basically the gist of it. And I got some nice moments from that, with Zelda actually wanting to protect the mortals, which was. And I liked that Ambros reacted appropriately. It's like, well, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So some fun moments with that.
I will say Ambrose very underutilized in this episode.
Underutilized. My other critique of Ambrose this episode, because I like Ambrose quite a bit, but my critique of Ambrose in this episode is that I don't think the show made it clear what the rules were. Now that he can go to the school, where he can go and can't go, because he was popping up all over the place in this one, and I'm like, I thought you could just go to the school. Now the way I'm internalizing it now is that since he can go to and from the school, presumably everything in between the school and the house is probably fair game now.
Yeah, probably.
Because he goes to the actual church they go to, and that's not like on school grounds. At least I don't think it is.
No.
And then he's in the high school later on. He's in Baxter High.
He's in the woods, just stumbling across the 13.
Well, that was the first time, and I guess that's just kind of on the grounds of the school. Assuming that the school has a big area, but then he's in the high school later on. He's in Baxter High, and I'm like, okay, I guess he can just go anywhere in between the two places now, and it's fine.
Yeah, kind of feels like, well, kind of just go where you want in the town now, right?
Which is fine. It just never sounded like that. Never explained that clearly.
It didn't. No.
I think all it needed was him being excited that he could go anywhere in between. If he was like, oh, I can go to that bookshop now because it's in between the two.
Sure.
If he'd been excited about it, and I guess that was kind of the point of Luke taking him out of the woods, is like, oh, I can show you my favorite spot now. This is fair game.
Yeah, I didn't really get that though when it was happening.
No,
I
nor
was
did
just
I.
confused as to wait, why is he in the woods?
But it's obviously not an oversight because it's been such a big thing all season that it's obviously not. They're just not
Yeah,
forgetting.
when
That,
he walks into the the meeting
yeah.
and he's like, oh, the witches give me a message. Yeah, Blackwood doesn't question like, oh, hang on, what were you doing out there?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So they must know he's there.
Yeah. So it's not an oversight. It's just something I don't think they clearly explained what the new rules were.
Yeah.
But now that we know, it's cool. It means we can see him be around the town and do various things. Maybe integrate with other characters a little bit more, which could be nice.
Yeah, maybe.
Shakes things up for season 2. But yeah, so to try and save the humans, because the witches are all going to go into the School of Dark Arts, or the whatever it's called.
Unseen.
There you go, Unseen Arts, and they are going to just basically make a force field, and that's be fine. But they're leaving all the mortals to die. So the Spellmans are going to invent a tornado via witchcraft, and that'll get everyone to go to the school because that's where the shelter is, the town shelter, and then they'll protect that, just kind of like the other school. And one by one, they kind of end up leaving. Zelda gets zapped away by Blackwell because Mrs. Blackwell's given birth, and then or Blackwood. I keep saying Blackwell, and then
Ambrose is zapped away by Luke just because.
Just because. Which I actually really laughed. Like I thought the scene after it where he says "I love you" was a bit forced, but the actual zapper away just because it's right after Hilda says, "As long as no one else leaves, we'll be fine. We can keep up the spell." And then whoosh, he goes like immediately without a beat. So that made me laugh. The scene after it, didn't really do much for me.
I'm internally rationalizing it as he doesn't really. He's just saying that.
Yeah.
Because he's a slimy bastard. But even so.
Yeah. I'm not trusting Luke because Blackwood and he's all his warlock cronies who are all chanting towards the end with the baby, and Ambrose is kind of like, what have I got myself in for here? These are all a bit.
Yes, they're all going, "Hail Satan."
Yes, which I think is normal for witches. To be fair, it's not.
No, it is, but he looked kind of like put out by the room doing it to this baby.
The extremism of it, I think, was upsetting his nature. And obviously Zelda has kidnapped the second child, made up a story about the weaker brother being consumed in the womb, which Blackwood's quite impressed. Oh, as it should be. Yes, the strong heir of my family. Yes.
Yeah. Prudence looks a bit terrified.
Yes. Which is actually kind of nice that Prudence, again shows a little bit of humanity and is like, oh, this is actually maybe a bit too evil even for her.
Well, I think it's more just that she's a threat to being the heir.
Sure. And obviously Zelda was worried what he'd do to the what we find out was the older daughter.
Sister, yeah.
Yeah. Only by a couple of minutes presumably, but still. So Lady Blackwood dies during childbirth. A fact that Blackwood seemingly doesn't even care about. He barely reacts to it.
I was getting the feeling that he'd done something to induce the labor so early because at the start of the episode, Zelda's like, "Oh, don't worry about that. She's only just going into a fourth trimester, so we've got ages." And then halfway through, he's like, "She's in labor. Gotta go now."
Yeah, he might have done. It would not be out of character for him to do that. So that would make sense to me. So and Sabrina goes with Bordile because she's got like a plan and we're going to do this, we do that, and it ends up being to sign the book. You have to sign the book, which will give you more power. You'll become potentially one of the most powerful witches there is, and you can put a stop to this. And Sabrina, of course, stands there, doesn't really want to, but ultimately does because she wants to save everyone. Kind of the classic heroic sacrifice for everyone. And it's interesting getting into season 2. Once she snaps out of the evil kick she's in because of this, and she becomes herself again, but obviously is still going to have her name signed in the book. It'll be interesting now that she has given her name away, and how she has to deal with that and still kind of find independence and power from within that. Because it's kind of interesting because at that point, if you go along with the themes of the show, it's like, well, so many people kind of get their name given away before they could even have the choice, right? It's just something that happens to them, and then they have to put up with it and maybe fight for their independence later. So I can see, it'll work well with the themes, I think, going forward. So
yes, although speaking of themes, and this section of the episode in particular, I thought it got a real bit clunky and on the nose with Wardwell, speaking to her, when she's like trying to convince her to sign the
Mm.
books, like, oh, you know how women need power. It felt. I think for the most part, the show's done a really good job of having that very obvious subtext and having that being what the
Yeah,
themes are about, but rarely have to have it so clunkily just in the dialogue like that.
yeah. Well, I think what's interesting about that though is that I mean, she's actually telling her to do the opposite. The powerful thing's to not sign the book. You know,
Yeah,
that's this is her manipulating her into giving herself away. Yeah, sure, under the pretense of power, but it's
yeah, yeah.
I guess to me it didn't ring clunky because it was someone actually trying to play her. It was someone trying to use that as a weapon, and if you try and use that as a weapon, it is inherently kind of in
Fair
your
enough.
face, I
It
guess.
still felt a bit clunky to me.
Yeah, I think it would have been bothersome if it had been like when the show was actually trying to make its point, like it was trying to make a point with Sabrina, right?
Yeah.
But because it was the villain like using it, like it was like nah. I mean,
Fair enough.
I don't know. That one didn't stick out to me too much. Um, but well, here's something. You were complaining last episode that it didn't necessarily feel like it was building up to a finale. Did you feel like this was a finale? Did it feel
In some ways, and in others, no.
okay?
Like the actual signing of the book and Sabrina, going kind of full witch.
Yeah.
That does, because that neatly kind of brings us back to where we started the season, which was all about signing the book. And you had things like the vision coming back into play from whatever episode that was, like 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
So there were things there that made it feel like it. Although I don't know, something in the pacing still didn't feel there. Like the stuff like in the relationship with the friends and stuff like that. It kind of felt like we weren't at the end of the season with any of that stuff.
Hmm.
Feels like, well, this is just where we're going to leave it for now.
Well, I mean, like we said last time, it was ordered for 2 seasons, so maybe it's just a case of the story they
Yeah.
wrote. This is halfway through it, but
I get it. It was a bit weird in that sense, where some stuff felt like, yeah, okay, this is end of season stuff, and others I felt just unfinished.
so one of the things that happens is because Harvey refuses to come to the school because he's looking after his dad, and his dad thinks Tommy committed suicide. That's how he explains the shooting. Sabrina asked Nick to go and look after them and like be the witch backup, as it were, for the house. And
Yeah.
we get some moments of Harvey like, wait, how do you know Sabrina? And like looking a little bit jealous and whatnot.
I thought it was weird that his whole thing 2 minutes earlier with Sabrina is, nope, I don't want any witches protecting me. I'm not coming to school. I'm doing it myself. And then a witch shows up and he's just like, well, go on then.
I think I would take that as more that's how he was phrasing it to Sabrina, but what he really was saying is he doesn't want Sabrina's help.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. It rang false to me.
I think again it's one of these contextual things though, where I feel like you're complaining about this, but once shit actually goes down and it gets quite scary, I feel like any standing you had a minute ago when you were being all proud and confident
But
would
he
go out the
lets
window.
Nick in doing all this stuff before anything starts happening.
Do what stuff? What does he do before stuff starts happening?
No, he's like in the house. They're talking. He's like, all right, well, come on then. He's like, oh well, Nick's like, oh, I'm here to protect you. He's not like he doesn't kick off and be like, no, I don't want witches. He never once says I don't want witches' help or anything like that.
To be fair though,
It
it
just
cuts away right after that moment. though. It doesn't. You don't get to see what happens for the rest of the scene.
right, but it feels weird to me to not have the continuation of that that confrontation, the his rising tension with witches. It feels weird for him to cut ahead to just them being there and kind of him being okay with it all.
I don't know. I feel like you'd equally complain if we had to sit through like another scene of him whining about witches and not wanting
I don't
help
want a
from
whole
witches.
scene. I just wanted like at least just like 2 lines of dialogue at the end of this scene with him not being happy that this guy's here to help.
But I think the joke almost is though is as soon as he thinks this is a potential love interest for Sabrina, his entire attention is taken up with that. Because it's almost a joke, right? It's almost as soon as he walks in and says he's a friend of Sabrina, he just sort of looks up and goes, "What sort of friend?" And then it cuts, right? It's just it's the comedic end of the scene.
Yeah.
And I wonder, and to me that's just the joke is that as soon as that's on his mind, everything else goes out the window because that's all he's thinking about.
Fair enough.
And then crazy shit starts happening. At that point, he's like, "Do your stuff, witch man. Like, we're gonna die."
Yeah, fair enough.
And he's calling him farm boy. I don't know. It just didn't play falsely for me. this part. Before, when he was whining at Sabrina, sure, he was a bit aggressive for the scene, but the stuff with Nick was surprisingly not that bad. I don't think I ever would have expected a scene with Harvey and Nick finally meeting each other to be not irritating, but it wasn't irritating. It was kind of okay.
Fair enough.
Border. I mean, I don't know. I think Nick, who I've been calling Nate for several episodes, as Connor pointed out before we started, I'm okay with that. Nate. Because the ending, I won't go as far to say it was sweet, because I think Nick, by his nature, is a little bit
slimy.
Yeah. But there is something to be said about him, like, sort of like reassuring Harvey that Sabrina is just into him. Like, you know, like, there was never any challenge to stupid mortals. She's into you. Go for it. And what she does, and Sabrina does the whole, nah, I mean, I'm worried it's too dangerous. I'm going to stay away from you and stay away from Roz and Susie. And the usual
she's like, I'm off to be a weird sister.
Pretty much. And she's actually quite pleasant in this scene still, but her hair's already changed. It's got the platinum blonde. And then obviously see her end. And Nick kind of looks terrified that she's one of them, and she even winks at him. And it's like, he knows this isn't right. Like, and that's just what I like about this scene, is that Nick, despite the fact that he's really into her, and despite the fact that he really wants her acting like this is a sign that she has changed, and that's not a good thing. That it's going to be something. He'll probably end up being the ally to the mortal friends, who kind of
probably
gets them help, because he sees that this is affecting her in a negative way, and it's like, you know, she's not herself again, and there's potential in that story. It's the, you know, even though technically this would be better for me given my original needs or wants, like, no, and that might make us like Nick a bit more, because he's, you know, it's a bit more noble. Might see him as less slimy as a result.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do a lot to overcome that sliminess.
Hey, look at Steve in Stranger Things season 2.
Oh, I'm not saying it's impossible.
It's possible.
I'm just saying you've got to do a lot.
I mean, I don't know who as Dustin is in season 2 if we go that route, but Harvey, they'll become the new Steve and Dustin.
There's a high bar.
There's a high bar. I'm not saying they'll be as good as the Steve and Dustin. I'm just saying they'll be the shows.
They'll be the knockoff that'll do it while Stranger Things isn't on.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. That's fine. Sabrina's helping fill that void a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah.
No. I don't know if I loved it as much as the last episode, but I did like this finale for the most part. There was a couple of clunky little elements. You know, like, yeah, the scene with Harvey where he's like kicking Sabrina out of the house was not great. But
to be honest, I found the whole you know, the structure with Wardwell narrating the story kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is me. It seemed weird to introduce that in the final episode of the season as this as a potential storytelling structure.
Do you know what? I can see what you're saying, but I've seen other shows do this.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is exclusive. It's one of those. It just kind of throws me. I'm like, when it's at the end of the season, usually what I want is for it to just build and excel on what it's meant to be doing. You know, what the show does best, right?
Because I've seen.
I'm not personally a fan of when they go, oh, we're going to do something different for the last episode just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I've seen other shows do this where they'll introduce a framing device just for the last episode of a season or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes a series finale, and sometimes it's for the reason of making it feel like, oh, after all this time, this is like them telling the epic end of the story, and it's going to be one for the ages because someone's telling it later on. But the actual who she's telling it to, who they hide all episode, turns out to be the principal, who she's got tied up and
Not
gagged.
Really that interesting, is it?
No, and then she eats them. I mean, I will say this: I liked the visual effect of her peeling off her face.
That was cool.
It looked good.
Do you know what else was a little cool tease?
Yeah.
The Raven actually talking.
It did. Yeah, it was only one sentence, but it did.
It tells us, okay, that is possible now.
Salem's coming. He's going.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's getting chatty, but then she kills the Raven because she's not happy with it. But
I was a little disappointed because the Raven didn't get, you know, the goblin head stick out of its chest. like all the other familiars that we've seen killed have happened.
Yeah. No.
Not a huge deal. It just I was like, oh, where's the creepy goblin head?
Yeah, I think for me it felt like a finale for the most part in the sense that the actual plot of okay, now as witches we're going to save the whole town. That's a finale plot to me. A season 1
It
finale
is.
plot. It's like okay,
It is,
everyone's in danger. We're going to save it. I mean, hell, season 1 of Smallville ended with a tornado, so why not
It
Sabrina?
did. It did.
Although it was in this show they caused the tornado. The tornado is just the MacGuffin.
Yeah, pretty much. The tornado was just that'll do. The tornado is the equivalent of the fire alarm.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's exactly what it is in this. And they go and they all kind of have their bit doing their thing during the crisis. Hilda ends up kissing her boss man, Gaeta from Battlestar, who ends up having demon eyes. He's someone. He's something. We'll find out. Yes. Also, I love Hilda saying she wants to move out when Zelda... Because I love that Zelda's stealing the baby. It's like she's actually excited. Because as much as for last episode she was complaining that we should never have taken Sabrina in, like, she actually wants to do it again. She wants to raise another kid. She clearly loves doing it, despite all of the evidence to the contrary. And I love Hilda saying, I'm going to move out. And it's this shocking moment for like a 5-second period. I'm like, wait, did she agree to move in with the guy like when we weren't looking for a second?
I was like, I don't remember that happening.
And then she's like, oh, out the room. It's time I had my own room. And I'm like, oh, okay. But Zelda still looks distraught.
She does. She looks like this is such a huge deal. I'm like, I mean, she's going to be next door.
I'll be honest, it's kind of weird you were sharing a room at this age anyway.
Yeah, you're like, what, 300-400?
I was actually thinking in terms of human ages. You're right. They're hundreds of years old. They should be past this.
I'm ballparking it. I don't think it's actually giving us a real indication of ages, but they're going to be at least 100.
As someone who's an only child and has never had to share a room,
I had to share a room with my brother when I was younger, and it was shit.
Yeah, it was like whenever I had friends who had siblings and they had to share a room, it was like this feels awful. How do you do it?
It was one of those things where, well, there wasn't enough rooms in the house to not do it.
Obviously, yeah.
But then we got an attic conversion, and I was like, right, I'm in my own room. Screw you.
Yeah, it's like your parents were being dicks saying, no, that room is my workout room. You two share.
To be fair, there was an office room.
See, that's your parents being dicks.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was a tiny room. I wouldn't have wanted it.
Oh, okay.
Like it was tiny. You could maybe just about lie down and have like another foot at the end. Yeah.
Well, anyway, point being, Zelda, it's okay. She can still help you take care of the baby from a door down the hall. It's fine.
Yeah. She's still in the house.
You're fine. You're fine.
And I know you got to keep the baby hidden, but that doesn't mean locked in one room.
Yeah. So in terms of things we've set up for next year, obviously the big one is Sabrina, being off the deep end. I expect maybe a couple of episodes at the start of season 2 before she kind of rediscovers herself, right? Maybe
2 or 3, yeah.
And episode 3 maybe is where I'd say, oh, that'll be the moment. She snaps out of it, and then we'll go from there.
Gonna be a little disappointed if it's just at the end of episode 1, which is possible because, I mean, how often do we see that?
It's possible. I wouldn't be that mad, depending on how they do it. It's the kind of thing where I definitely don't, because part of me also is worried that they're going to be like, we're going to be edgy. We're going to have her be this all season, and I don't want that.
Yeah, that's too far.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want because I like Sabrina as a character. I want Sabrina, not evil Sabrina all season.
I think one episode is disappointing. I mean, it can be handled well. Don't get me wrong. It's just inherently a little disappointing because I want when you end a season on something, I want that to stick as a little bit to play with that idea a touch.
I think what we need though, if she's going to be like that for like 3 or 4 episodes, it kind of needs to shift to another protagonist for a bit, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of the others are interesting enough to carry it on their own.
It makes sense for it to be Harvey.
Yeah, and I'm not thrilled with that.
It makes sense that he'll be disinterested until, like, maybe Nick shows up and tells them that she's acting weird and she's like, she needs her mortal friend to snap her out of it, and then he'll start actually pursuing it, and I can see that being kind of maybe something we do start next season. Obviously, whatever Blackwood's secret plans and evil cult, like, or sub cult of the Coven is, I'm sure that's a thing that Ambros is going to be dealing with. Of course, we're going to have this new baby in the house, and we're going to have Hilda's new demon boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah. Are we expecting any sort of a time jump, do you think, between seasons?
That's a good question.
Because I can kind of see the argument for no is no, we want to jump straight into Sabrina being weird, immediately.
Yeah.
We don't want it to stay too long. Alternatively, you do a time jump, and then you can have Harvey kind of, okay, he trained up some of that witch hunting skills.
Oh, right, yeah, they're going to go hunting.
Not necessarily
Yeah.
to actively kill the witches, but more just he needs to be able to defend himself.
Just to understand the world and what he's getting into and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah, I get you. I can also see Prudence eventually like helping bring Sabrina back in a weird way. Like maybe she'll go too far for Prudence, because Prudence was already kind of disapproving of what the other two did.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I can almost see Prudence being like, nah, I should probably try and help.
Yeah, Prudence is a bitch, but she's not evil.
Yeah. So no, I can see that being a thing. And then of course Wardell's whole thing
Yeah, the whole being Lilith.
being Lilith, yes. As soon as she said it, I immediately thought of Fraser's ex-wife, and I'm like, yes.
Really? You don't think literally, the first demon?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay. So it's the first thing my mind goes to if you say Lilith.
Until she actually said, mentioned Adam and all that, I was like, oh, right, yeah. But I wouldn't have. When she said Lilith, I would never have went to, oh, yeah, that's the first demon.
For me, it was the opposite. When she said it, I was like, ah, shit, yeah, she said she was the mother of demons ages ago. I should have put that together.
Honestly, when she said she was the mother of demons, I actually, my first thought was Twin Peaks. I was thinking Babylon.
I get it.
But, I mean, technically that was the mother of all abominations, not demons. But,
The apples and oranges.
ballpark. In the ballpark.
Yeah. Just a little side thing. I think it was last episode we were talking about, the Netflix being sued about the statue.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going, well, there's only like one or two scenes where it really features.
Oh, yeah, that's seen in a
this
couple
episode,
of moments.
it has it crying blood.
Like,
And it's
okay.
like this huge herald of evil shit happening.
Joey, do just CG out the big hand that's holding it up. There you go. No, it's different. It's missing an arm. Well, wasn't one of the things that the fingers was like their design?
So
So if you take away the whole arm, it's like, well,
yeah, but then it's like, well, where's the other arm?
God got it.
What?
In a fight.
Sure, why not? I don't see them CGing it and changing it. The question though is whether they redesign it for season 2, or do they just stick to the grounds?
I'll be honest, I could see them having another statue and having a wee meta line about it, like why it's not there, like why it's changed, or even just someone going, "Huh, I thought that looked different last year." Just me, and then just walk it off as if it's nothing.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Also, actually, I can't, it's a bit on the nose, but I actually kind of like Prudence saying hopes and prayers when Sabrina was concerned about mortals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the nose, but it was like her saying it in a really sarcastic way because she knows it is worthless was kind of worked. It was like, oh, okay. It kind of works because that's kind of the point of the statement, is that it is pointless.
Fair enough. Again, I mean, I thought it was a little clunky, but whatever.
I can't argue with that because it is, but I don't know, that one at least, it kind of worked because of that to an extent in this particular case. But because it's not a show that's been dropping a lot of things like that all season.
It hasn't, no.
So it's just like, I'll give them the one. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, I enjoyed the season. I enjoyed the show. I'd probably actually agree that the episode 5, I think it was, the dream one, was probably the weakest. Yeah. Which is funny because I think on paper I might have liked that one a lot, but
yeah, I think for me, I'd still say overall I enjoyed the show, but 5 was kind of a bit of a turning point for me where it kind of lost me a little bit after that. I lost a lot of the steam that it was building up in those first 4, and I just don't feel like it ever found its footing again for me.
Okay. I think I'm into the characters a little bit more, so I was a bit more into the emotional payoffs, at least with Sabrina and the aunts and Ambros and Harvey. Susie and Rose are a little bit weaker right now, but I'm hoping that now that they're more involved and they know what's going on, And to be fair, whenever they're with Sabrina, they're all right sidekicks. It's just kind of their own little plots that they've been given to feel very thin.
They do.
Up until this point. Which, by the way, Rosie's nan is dead now as well. The Raider
Just throw that out there.
took her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's relatively a minor plot point in the grand scheme of things, but
It is. It doesn't really matter, does it?
nah, because we already lost other characters, right? Because we already lost Blackwood. Because we went from like covering her with a sheet, and then it went to her. I was like, oh, well, that's 2 now. Okay.
Yeah.
Had a couple of days. But yeah, and it was probably Blackwood's fault that Lady Blackwood's dead. He's probably
Almost certainly.
He's been complaining about her and shacking up with someone else for the last several episodes, and he's evil.
He is pretty evil.
Yeah, I mean he's funny evil. I enjoy watching him be evil, but he is.
He's one of my favorite parts of the show consistently because he's just over the top theatrical evil.
That's fair. I think looking back at the show as a whole, I think Kiernan Shipkill was good casting. I think she carried it quite well.
Yeah, I thought she was alright. I don't think I ever really had any complaints about her.
She never felt like she diverted into. I think there was even scenes where she elevated some of the material that otherwise might have felt a bit.
John, I'll tell you what. One of the only moments where I kind of laughed that I didn't think the delivery was quite there was in this episode.
Which was?
It was when the one of the 13 was like, oh, there's only 3 witches who've ever summoned this fire, and she just goes 4. I didn't think the delivery was quite up to really selling that statement.
That wasn't the exact line. I laughed, and I know this because I laughed at the line because I thought, oh, that's confident. She said it's about to be 4, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty confident.
Yeah, I didn't think the acting was quite there for that statement.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of read it now as like her first sign of going down this like evil path.
Yeah. It was supposed to be this huge, confident statement of no, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And you're all screwed, and it didn't quite get it across. I don't think, but it's possibly the only time all season where I felt that it hasn't got the point with her acting.
I wonder if that's maybe part of also because maybe the writing's not actually sold you that she is this powerful yet, because
she is just kind of all of a sudden is.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
And they were they kind of told us, once you've signed the book, you'll gain more access to power and you'll be extra powerful.
But then she's literally leapt up to the 4th most powerful witch ever.
Yes.
Which in the space of 20 seconds.
Which is TV or main character is the chosen one sort of 101.
Yeah.
Because into every generation,
I know.
There has to be a chosen one.
Yeah, as soon as I think, well, what's this? Oh, you'll be the most powerful witch in a generation. I was like, oh god, here it comes.
Do. Is that what you hear? Do you hear the organs playing in your head when I'm going to make a Buffy reference?
No, I don't. Or I might do now. Prick.
Yeah. No, I had good fun with the show. It's not like perfect. I think it's one of these things where I liked it a lot, and when we get to like the top 10 of the year, it may be on my top 10 of the year. I'd have to, look at what else we've watched and what else is coming still, obviously.
Yeah,
but
we've still got a few biggies to come.
We do. I mean, obviously, this is the end of the season on Netflix, and one of the things we like to do at the end of a Netflix show is tell you kind of what's coming up soon from Netflix in terms of what we will be covering. Because if you're on the audio feed, you'll be interested to know what's coming up soon, and if you're on YouTube, you just have an eye out for what the new shows are going to be. We know that Travelers Season 3 is coming December 14th. We know there's a foreign show coming called 1983 at the end of November, which we're looking forward to trying. It's an alternate history show.
Polish.
Polish, there you go. Do you know, and I know it's European every time I go to say it, but I'm like, I can't remember. But yeah, so 1983, it's an alternate history show where the Soviet, the Iron Curtain, if you will, is still standing.
And then I think arguably the next thing that's maybe the closest to this would be the 3rd and final season of a series of unfortunate events is coming January 1st.
It's coming in January, and there is kind of, I mean, it's not quite the exact same tone, but there's definitely some similar beats to it.
There is. There's a similarity, just enough that they feel kind of linked compared to a lot of the other Netflix.
This is more serious, of course, but there is definitely still a playful, like, evil glee
just
to
that
it.
Off-kilter tone.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's just that joke about orphans a few episodes ago. That's all this is.
That didn't help. that probably didn't help. I think. Do you know what it is though? I think someone like Blackwood would just fit in
You would.
on unfortunate events so well. Like just he wouldn't look out of place.
I want a cross. I know season 3 is the last of Unfortunate Events, but I want a crossover episode where Olaf comes to the Unseen Art School and has to pretend to be the new headmaster. That's what I want in my life.
That would be amazing. Make it happen, Netflix.
Yes, do it. Do it. Synergy. You want synergy, damn it. Some brand recognition and synergy. Anyway, so yeah, that's coming up. And we're also expecting the final season of Black Mirror by the end of the year. So there's quite a few Netflix shows coming up soon. And there's a couple of other small ones we're going to try. There's an Australian mermaid show happening in December that we're going to try. It's not called Siren, just in case anyone's looking for Siren.
Yeah. And I think we've got a Mexican show, is it?
Diablero is coming, December as well. Now, admittedly, there's so much coming in December that some of these other ones that we're just trying will have to impress us for us to keep doing, because they're going to land right around Travellers, which we know we're doing because we love that show.
It's fantastic.
And of course, we reviewed all season 1 and 2, as same with Lemony Snicket's Unfortunate Events, so you can check out all those in the feed or on the YouTube playlists. Have a look, see. But yeah, so that's the stuff that's coming up from Netflix soonish, and no doubt there'll be more being announced for February and beyond and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the only one we're getting actually a little bit ahead with Netflix. They usually are very tight on the leash, but we got a Kingdom, which is the Korean show for the end of January, was announced the date, and that's actually a little bit of an earlier announcement than I expect from them.
It's because they had like a convention or something like that.
Yeah, we battled the Asian content
in Asia, so all the Asian stuff for the next while got announced, whereas Travellers get announced for December 14th, just like yesterday. So
yeah.
I mean, clearly there's still some that just out of nowhere, here it's coming in like 3 weeks time, just accept it.
Yeah, we're always have to be on the ball with, okay, we have to pay attention to what's coming.
Yeah, so that stuff's coming soon. So hopefully some of you will come back for that, and if not, we'll be back with season 2 of Sabrina in about a year or so's time when they launch it. And it feels, I mean, if they don't do a time jump, then it might be a good Christmas release. If they set most of season 2 at Christmas,
it could. Either way, though, I can see them wanting to, if they can, get it out for October again, just because. I mean, it's Halloweeny.
Yeah, it's perfect timing for it if they can.
It is, and it's 10 episodes. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible, so we'll see. And given that they may have had most of the story written for season 2 already, maybe even more likely than it would
at least outlines, yeah.
So here's hoping. But no, I'm looking forward to season 2. I enjoyed season 1. So let us know what you thought of the finale and the season as a whole in the comments. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Get us on the Patreons at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. And you can support us over there for as little as $1 per month. You get some stuff early, you get some voting rights and various things, and so on and so forth. But you can go over there and have a look. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. But otherwise, that's us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Thank you for joining us for this season of Sabrina. The chilling tales of, or adventures of, as it actually is. But you know what? It's fine.
One last time.
One last time. I'll get it wrong. And then Nick as well. He's in there. One of your best characters.
You know, just a fun story on that. The first episode that he popped up in, you went, what was his name? Was it Nate? And we went and checked and it was like, oh no, it's Nick.
Yes.
And then you got it right in that episode. And then everyone since you said Nate. And I just was like, I'm not going to bother.
It was more memorable. What do you want from me? So, there you go. That is us. So, thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?